1 Corinthians chapter 9. Am I not free? Am I not a dispatched envoy? Haven't I seen Jesus or the Master? Aren't you the result of my work that was done for the Master? If to others I'm not a dispatched envoy, nevertheless I definitely am one to you, since your being in union with the Master is the seal that confirms that I have been dispatched as an envoy. This is my defense to those who are examining me. We don't ever have the right to eat or drink, do we? We don't ever have the right to go around with sisters with us as wives, just like the rest of the dispatched envoys and the Master's brothers and Cephas or Peter, do we? Or is it that only Barnabas and I, who don't have the right not to work? What soldier at any time is fighting in a war and supplying his own rations? Who plants a vineyard and doesn't eat its fruit? Or who shepherds a flock and doesn't eat anything, cheese or butter, from the flock's milk? I don't speak these things just in accordance with human ways, do I? Or doesn't the law also say these things? For it has been written in the law of Moses, "You must not muzzle an ox while it is threshing." Deuteronomy 25, verse 4. This isn't about Almighty caring for oxen, is it? Or is it on our behalf that He is positively saying it? Yes, it was written on our behalf, because the plower ought to plow, and the thresher ought to thresh, in hope of receiving a share of the crop. Since we have planted spiritual seeds among you, is it a big thing if we should harvest things for the flesh from you? Since others are sharing in this right with you, shouldn't we have even more of a claim? Nevertheless, we didn't use this right. Rather, we are continually putting up with all kinds of things, so that we might not cause any restriction to the good message about the Anointed One. Aren't you aware that those who work with the sacred things eat the food from the sacred place, and that those who are attendants before the altar get their portion of what is on the altar? In the same way, too, the Master has advocated that those who are continually announcing the good message are to be getting their living from the good message. Yet I haven't used any of these rights. Now I'm not writing these things so that it might occur like this in my case, for it is my ideal rather to die than to do this. No one shall make my boast into nothing. For if I am continually spreading the good message, I can't boast about it, for compulsion to do so was pressing upon me. For how terrible it is for me if I don't spread the good message! For if I am engaging in this voluntarily, then I would have wages. Yet if it is involuntary, then I have been entrusted with a service as a management slave. So then, what is my wage? It is this, that in spreading the good message, I might place the good message without expense to anyone, and so not make full use of my rights in the spreading of the good message. Yes, although I am free of everyone, I have made a slave of myself to everyone, so that I might gain more of them. Now to the ewes I became like a ewe, so that I might gain ewes. To those who are under the law, like a person who is under the law, although I myself am not under the law, so that I might gain those who are under the law. To those who are without the law, like a person who is without the law, although I'm not without law with respect to Almighty, but under the Anointed One's law, so that I might gain those who are without the law. To those who are weak I became like a person who is weak, so that I might gain those who are weak. To everyone I have become everything, so that I might positively save some of them from destruction. Now everything that I am continually doing is for the good message, so that I might become a sharer together with others in it. Aren't you aware that in a stadium race all of the runners are running, yet only one can get the prize? This is how you must be continually running, so that you might grasp hold of the prize. Now every contender is continually exercising self-control in everything. Yes, indeed, they do it to get a winner's crown that is subject to decay. Yet we are doing it to get one that is never going to be subject to decay. Now then, this is how I am continually running in the race, not like someone who is uncertain about his goal. This is how I am continually boxing, not like someone who is punching at the air, but I am continually bruising my body and continually leading it into slavery, so that after I have proclaimed to others, I myself might not somehow become disapproved. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. For I don't want you to be ignorant, brothers and sisters, about our forefathers. They all were under the cloud, Exodus 13 verse 21. And they all went through the sea, Exodus 14 verse 22. And they all were immersed into union with Moses by the cloud and the sea. And they all ate the same spiritual food, Exodus 16 verses 4 and 35. And they all drank the same spiritual drink, Exodus 17 verse 6. For they kept drinking from the spiritual bedrock that was continually following them. Musical Composition 78 verse 15. And this bedrock was the Anointed One. But with most of them Almighty wasn't delighted, for they, or their dead bodies, have been spread along the ground in the wasteland. Now these things have occurred as representations for us, so that we might keep ourselves from being desirers of the bad things that they also desired. Also, you must stop becoming idol worshippers, as some of them were. Exodus 32 verses 1 through 4. Just as it has been written, the people sat down to eat and drink, and they rose up to play. Exodus 32 verse 6. Also, we should stop having non-marital sexual intercourse, as some of them did, and for it 23,000 fell in one day. Numbers 25 verses 1 through 9. Also, we should stop putting the Master to the test, as some of them did, and for it were destroyed by snakes. Numbers 21 verses 5 through 6. Also, you must stop grumbling as some of them did, and for it were destroyed by the exterminator. Numbers 16 verses 41 through 49. Now these things were happening to them as a representation to others, and they were written to admonish us, upon whom the completion of the ages, the beginning of the last age, has already begun to reach. Therefore, the person who is having the impression that he is standing securely must be continually looking out, so that he might not fall. No test has taken hold of you except what is common to humans. Yet Almighty is trustworthy, who won't let you be tested beyond what you are able to handle. Rather, when you are tested, He will then make a way out, so that you might be able to undergo it. For this reason, my dearly loved ones, you must be continually running away from the worship of idols. I am saying this as to intelligent people. You must judge for yourselves what I am affirming. The cup of blessing that we are continually blessing Isn't it the symbol of our sharing in the Anointed One's blood? The biscuit that we are continually breaking, isn't it the symbol of our sharing in the Anointed One's body? Since there is only one biscuit, we who are many are one body. For we are continually receiving a share of the one biscuit. You must be continually looking at Israel according to the flesh. Aren't those who are eating the sacrifices sharers with the altar? So then, what am I affirming? That what is sacrificed to an idol is anything? Or that an idol is anything? No, but that the things that the pagans are sacrificing, they are sacrificing to demons, and not to Almighty. And I don't want you to become sharers with demons. You can't be drinking from the cup of the Master and the cup of demons. You can't be receiving a share of the food on the table of the Master and the food on the table of demons. Or are we trying to provoke the Master to jealousy? We aren't stronger than he is, are we? A person is allowed to do all things, but not all of them are causing improvement. A person is allowed to do all kinds of things, but not all of them are causing a person to be built up. A person must stop always seeking his own welfare, and rather must also be seeking the welfare of other persons. You must be eating everything that is sold in the meat market. Most of it had been sacrificed to idols. You must not be examining anyone about the meat because of your consciences. For the earth and the things that fill it belong to the Master. Musical Composition 24, verse 1. If some unbeliever calls or invites you to be his guest, and you want to go, you must be eating whatever is placed before you. You must not be examining him about anything because of your consciences. Yet if someone says to you, "This is meat that has been sacrificed in sacredness," or to an idol, you must stop eating it, because of that person who divulged this to you, and because of conscience. Now when I say, because of conscience, I don't mean yours, but the other person's. But you say, "Why is my freedom being decided by another's conscience?" If I am receiving a share of it with thankfulness to Almighty, why am I being slandered for sharing in something for which I am giving thanks to Almighty? Whether you are eating or drinking, or anything you are doing, you must be continually doing everything for the esteem of Almighty. You must stop being stumbling blocks to yous, non-yous, and Almighty's group of called ones. Just as I am continually trying to please everyone in everything, not seeking my own improvement, but the improvement of as many people as possible, so that they might be saved from destruction. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. You must continually be imitators of me, just as I also am of the Anointed One. Now I am praising you because you have remembered me in everything, and because you are continually holding on to the traditions, just as I have delivered them over to you. Now I want you to be aware that the Anointed One is the head of, or the source of life for every man. That the man is the head of, or the source of life for, the woman. Genesis 2 verses 21 through 23. And that Almighty is the head of, or the source of life for, the Anointed One. Every man who is leading a prayer or prophesying with something on his head is shaming his head, the Anointed One. Yet every woman who is leading a prayer or prophesying with her head uncovered is shaming her head, or her husband's or father. For this would be one and the same thing as though she had shaved her head. For if a woman doesn't cover her head, she must also cut off her long hair. If it is shameful for a woman to cut off her long hair or shave her head, she must be covering her head. For on the one hand, a man ought not to cover his head, since he is the image of Almighty. Genesis 1 verse 27. And an esteem to him. Yet, on the other hand, the woman is an esteem to her husband, or father. For man didn't come from woman, but woman from man. Genesis 2 verse 21 through 23. And man wasn't created because of woman, but woman because of man. Genesis 2 verse 18. For this reason, the woman ought to have the symbol of her right to lead prayers and prophecy on her head for the sake of the messengers. However, in the union with the Master, woman isn't distinct from man, or man distinct from woman. For just as the woman came from the man, so too the man is born through the woman, yet everything is from Almighty. You must judge yourselves. Is it proper for a woman to lead a prayer to Almighty with her head uncovered? Doesn't even nature itself teach you that if a man has long hair, it is a dishonor to him? Yet if a woman has long hair, it is her esteem, because long hair has been given to her in place of a shawl? Now if anyone is presuming to be contentious about this, we don't have any such custom of women leading prayers or prophesying with their heads uncovered, nor do Almighty's groups of called ones. Yet while I am giving you this charge, I don't praise you, because when you are coming together for love feasts, it doesn't result in what is better, but in what is a less desirable thing. For first of all, when you are coming together in a group of called ones, I am hearing that splits exist among you, and I am believing some part of it. Yes, there have to be sects or denominations among you, so that those who are approved might become apparent among you. So then, when you are coming together in the same place for a love feast, it isn't to eat the Master's Supper, since in your eating of it each person is continually taking his own supper ahead of another, instead of sharing. So one person, who is late and poor, is hungry, yet another person, who is early and rich, is drunk. Don't you have any homes at all in which to be eating and drinking your own food? Or do you despise Almighty's group of called ones, and want to shame those who have nothing? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you? No, I can't praise you for this. For I accepted from the Master what I also delivered over to you, that the Master Jesus, on the night that he was delivered over, took a biscuit, and after he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "This represents my body, that is for you. You must be continually doing this as a reminder of me." Luke 22 verse 19. In the same manner he also took the cup after the supper, saying, "This cup represents the new contract of my blood. You must be continually doing this, as often as you are drinking from it, as a reminder of me." Luke 22 verse 20. For as often as you are eating from this biscuit and drinking from this cup, you are continually announcing the Master's death until he comes. Therefore, whoever is eating from the Master's biscuit or drinking from the Master's cup in an unworthy manner will be held liable for an offense against the Master's body and blood. Now a human must be continually proving himself, and like this must be continually eating from the biscuit and drinking from the cup. For whoever is eating and drinking is eating and drinking judgment to himself, if he doesn't make a judgment about the master's body, that the biscuit and cup are to be shared with one another as a memorial. For this reason many among you are weak and in poor health, and a considerable number have fallen asleep or died. Yet if we are making a judgment about ourselves, we wouldn't be judged. Yet since we cause ourselves to be judged by the Master, we are being disciplined, so that we might not be condemned with the world. Therefore, my brothers and sisters, when you are coming together to eat a love feast, you must be continually waiting for one another. Whoever is hungry must eat something at home, so that you might not come together for judgment. Now I will advocate about the rest of these things when I come.